Our top story today: why are drug runners running rampant in Salt Lake City? We've actually been asking this question quite often, and we've asked Salt Lake District Attorney Tim Gill, Rocky Anderson, a whole bunch of people. I'm going to be getting into that and reference a story and a podcast we did with Rocky Anderson recently that I can recommend for you. But this is Utah Stories Top 5, where we scour all the top headlines of the day, sift through all the spin and clutter, and present to you the most important and pressing headlines, saving you countless hours. So I'm your host today, Richard Marcosian. So before we get to headlines, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and know that this episode is brought to you by Utah Stories Magazine. This is our brand new craft beer issue. This is our most popular issue of the year. It runs out extremely quickly. People love reading about craft beer because more than anything, I think what it is craft beer represents freedom. It was Benjamin Franklin said that beer is proof that God loves us and wants us to be happy. I love that quote. And what beer has to do with freedom, I write about it in the intro of this issue. What it is the beer industry and the alcohol industry has fragmented so that craft breweries and craft distilleries are getting market share more and more from the bigger conglomerate multinational corporations. And that is an amazing trend. That is such an awesome trend that we've got local craft breweries creating awesome jobs, creating economic vitality. And you go into these craft breweries and they're so awesome. They make such great product, especially here in Utah. Like, I've had really bad craft beer before, but it's never been in Utah. And so I want to promote the idea that you just go out and buy more local beer. It's just a great idea and it's awesome stuff. And as far as I'm concerned, there's so many awesome beers, and I want to feature one as often as we can. I guess we'll do one at the end of the episode. But yeah, go out and get your issue of Utah Stories craft beer before it's gone. And if you want to take the time to support our content, you can go to utahstories.com and get Utah Stories Magazine for $3 a month and have it delivered to your door. Okay, let's dive into our first headline and story. Last night was the Super Tuesday Republican caucus. I checked out the caucus meeting near my precinct. It was Brighton High School, and it was so crowded. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't even move around. I was thinking of interviewing some people, but this was what it looked like there at Brighton High, just full of basically a lot of old people, very staunch Republican in my area near Murray. And they're all there to support. I guess most of them are probably Trump supporters there. I heard that their different precincts were Nikki Haley supporters, or people were even disguising themselves as Republicans, wanting to thwart the efforts of making the caucus system work out. But it's quite interesting what happens. It's just the whole idea is we elect and find delegates who represent us in the Electoral College, and that's the whole part of the caucus system. You should check out what that's all about. It's interesting. Not going to go into it, but Utah is poised to join the growing list of states where President Joe Biden has fended off Democratic challengers, and Beehive State Republicans choose former President Donald Trump for a sequel to 2020, 2016, by beating Nikki Haley by 17 percentage points during the caucus night, according to early returns, according to the Tribune. The Utah GOP urged caucus attendees to pre-register through their website to make the check-in process go smoothly, but chaos ensued Tuesday night after digital systems crashed at multiple caucus locations. At several locations, lack of internet slowed and even stopped the process, leaving attendees stuck in long lines, according to a Utah Republican source familiar with the issues. Caucus goers also had problems with the party's online system, further fouling up the voting process. This is sad. And then at this place, Copper Hills High School, the problems reportedly caused hundreds of potential attendees to just give up and go home. If they were getting this early in, what's going to happen in November? I really hope they iron out the kinks with trying to vote and have accuracy. All right, our next headline: Salt Lake City Council voted to limit public comment. They're tired of hearing from you, so they don't want to hear from you. So they're going to just say, yeah, this public comment thing, let's just get rid of it. After offering almost no notice, providing little opportunity for input, the Salt Lake City Council adopted new restrictions on public commenting during meetings, according to the Tribune. The council voted 6-0 on Tuesday night for a new policy that would limit public comment period at meetings to 1 hour and expand options to submit comments by video. On Monday, the council revised the formal meeting agenda it already had posted to include consideration of a resolution to amend public comment rules. So this came from a lot of people showing up to support a ceasefire in Palestine, as if the people in Gaza and Israel would really, love to stop fighting because the Salt Lake City Council voted to have that ceasefire or endorse it. Kind of ridiculous, but I see people, like to get political, but it's better, I think, strongly, in my opinion, to get political locally where you can actually make a difference. I've said that many times. City staffers recommend the council suspend the rules and adopt the changes immediately, effectively shutting down any meaningful chance for constituents to weigh in. So even have less of the voice of the people, which makes, supporting local journalism even more important. All right, the next headline, the beginning of March brings lots of snow. So we know this March kicked off with a heavy winter storm that delayed flights, caused road closures, and as seen on yesterday's Top 5, buried a South Jordan neighborhood in tumbleweeds. That was due to the wind. But there was an attack of tumbleweeds in one South Jordan neighborhood. But how much snow did the storm bring? So this interactive snow total map shown in the last 72 hours shows that we're now at like 130% of normal, which is awesome. Snowbird reports 10 inches of new snow. They're at 115 inches, 426 total inches of snow. But we're at about half of where we were last year, but still this has been a pretty great year. Right now, as you can see, there's a lot of snow. This was me up in Mill Creek with my dogs, and it's awesome to go up there and just see the winter wonderland. It's amazing. What do you think about the wintry start to March? Is this going to revive the Great Salt Lake? I'd like to know more about it. We're going to cover that next week. All right, so there's a Utah trio falsely accused of falsely applying for pandemic payroll relief funds. We just talked about this. All of those payroll relief funds that were sent out, the reason why we're, half of the reason why we're in $30 trillion of national debt went to the very top, and a lot of people got these fraudulent applications out and got millions of dollars they weren't entitled to. There's 3 Tooele residents who are facing federal charges, according to KSL, of applying for more than $400,000 in loans. Haley and Melbauer, Timothy George Lopez, Rick A. Bolton were each indicted by a federal grand jury February 28th with 7 counts of wire fraud. Melbauer was also charged with 1 count of money laundering. This is all alleged until they're charged or convicted. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Melbauer, Lopez, and Bolton worked together to defraud the COVID-19 relief program, dubbed the Payroll Protection Program, and related lenders out of approximately $195,000 and attempted to defraud them out of another approximately $226,000 by fraudulently applying for a total of $422,000. The group is accused of carrying out their scheme from July 15th, 2020 to July 14th, 2022. They used the money they received from the government to pay for unauthorized personal expenses such as gambling expenses, debt payments, rental car payments, miscellaneous expenses, and unauthorized payroll expenses. According to the charges, they alleged attempted to obtain forgiveness as much of the loans as possible. Okay, so our top story today, why are drug runners running rampant in Salt Lake City? If you know the neighborhood that has Gormandy's Bakery that's been around for at least three decades, Peter Prayer Violin School, been around like 40 or 50 years, the Ibarra building next door to HSL Restaurant Group make some of the conglomeration of businesses around there. but it's the weaves of the cultural and economic tapestry in the district that is so local, walkable, quaint, nice. Now drug runners and drug trafficking are running rampant in this area. And it's just so evident just walking around. You see drug dealers approaching you as you walk around. And a woman told us just the other day that, yeah, you can get heroin on the block of First South between 2nd and 3rd East. And on another block, you can get meth. You can get anything you want now. Why is this? We looked into this. We asked Rocky Anderson. It's because the Magnolia Apartments that are on between 1st and 2nd South on 3rd East are completely full of drug addicts. According to residents and managers who live there, nearly everyone there is using drugs. And the drug running and drug trafficking has flourished because these people have free rent, free apartments, and they can just go outside, buy drugs, use them in their apartments with impunity. There's nobody getting kicked out. So check out the podcast I produced with Rocky Anderson. David Ibarra was on the podcast talking about this a while ago, how his building, he can't even go outside of his building without seeing crime happening right in front of his eyes. He had to try to stop a man who was trying to break into his car, and he physically grabbed this guy and had to pin him down. But then it took 20 minutes for the police to show up after he pinned him down. And it's just law and order is not a priority, I guess, because according to what Rocky said, when you talk to the business owners on the street, they've basically given up on calling the cops anymore. If something happens, such as public masturbation, which is very common, one woman had to move her mid-city salon off of Main Street due to repeated public masturbation exhibitions, and because the police wouldn't do anything about it. They'd just say, tell them to move on, tell them. I mean, and this is a salon full of ladies, and the police just don't respond to incidents like that. And so we've wanted to talk to the mayor's office, Andrew Johnson. We've invited him to come on the program. Just tell us your point of view. Maybe you don't have enough officers, maybe you don't have enough funding, but what is going on down there that is making it so incredibly difficult for small businesses? I would like to hear the mayor's response. I'd like to know what their perspective is on it, because as I just said, and as we've just talked to Ken Sanders about on this program, those small local mom and pop businesses all over downtown, they make up the social fabric. They make up our ability to have economic independence. And really, they lend it to our own sovereignty. Because if we become just a conglomeration of giant corporate buildings and corporate retailers and corporate enterprises, we don't have real sovereignty or economic control over our neighborhoods anymore. So we have to get this problem taken under control, and we have to support locally owned independent businesses. That's really the only way to solve this problem. So Andrew Johnson, Mayor Mendenhall, we'd love to have you on the program to hear your point of view on it. All right. So the question of the day today, I found, Allegra found, so Gen Zs are more likely to get, are they more likely to get colon cancer? And the answer is yes. People born around 1990 have twice the risk of colon cancer and 4 times the risk of rectal cancer as those born around 1958. The American College of Gastroenterology stated the alarming trend of younger and younger people being diagnosed with diseases. The American College, this is a quote from their website, young people are often diagnosed with more advanced cancers due to delays in detection, driving home the point that prevention is the best strategy to beat cancer, said Kyle Eliason, director of endoscopy for Intermountain Health and also the director of gastroenterology at Intermountain McCady Hospital in Ogden. So why are more people than ever getting colon cancer and rectal cancer? I would have a guess. I could make a hypothesis. But what do you think? I'd like to hear your comments below. My guess would be because they eat too much junk food, too much processed food, whereas people born in 1958 would have to eat more whole foods, more home cooked foods. Those foods are more easily digestible and probably less GMO. I think I won't eat, if I can avoid GMO grains, I always will. And factory farm beef, I also know, is full of hormones and steroids. Those things are given to cows that affect the quality of the meat. Anyway, my 2 cents on it. Okay, our adventure of the day today. This is the Living Room Lookout Trail. And if you're a student at the University of Utah, likely you've heard of this trail before. It is really a cool place to go because it's shaped like a living room. You sit there on some couches made out of rocks. You can watch the sun go down. You can take up, a couple beers with your friends and hang out and enjoy the beautiful view. Okay, I've got an event I need to tell you about. It's our beer issue launch party. It's at Shades Brewing. This is our ad for it right in the magazine. It is March 15th, 7 to 9. Still totally free, but you need to reserve your ticket online because we know we will very likely be filled to capacity. It's not a giant place. It's got a big patio, tap room. You can sample a lot of the best craft beers we were talking about. You can win gift cards and prizes, but you got to be 21 to come. So don't bring your kids. If you bring your kids, you can't just leave them in the car and then go in. You got to attend to your children, take them home, find a babysitter, and then come without kids. We've got that same issue. We're getting a babysitter. So hope to see you there. It'll be a lot of fun. We'll have raffles, prizes. It will be worth coming. All right, so thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time.